First, a note about how I am doing this post-mortem. I am a marketer who arrived in the team a few weeks ago, and gathered the feedback of everyone working on it. They sent me by DM to make it a bit more anonymized, and less influenced by other people's experience. I'd also added feedback from my own point of view, as someone arriving in the latest maths of a project. We will be releasing Sigma Theory on April 19th, if you are interested. After the success of Dungeon Rushes, Elahee, the creator of Goblin Studio, wanted to work on a game using the same code-based gameplay. It would be a sci-fi RPG game, taking the gameplay basis of a Dungeon Rusher, but improving it. The same team would be on board, and used its experience gained on the first game of Goblin Studio. There were some hiccups, and the art director of Dungeon Rushes was not available anymore. Elahee hired Matthew to do Robothorium. It's quite important, because it was Matthew's first project. He learned a lot but still had to gain experience to make something cool. Matthew accommodated nicely, but the art and creative direction were a bit clunky from the beginning. The team had to do a complete rework of the art direction, and change all sprites. For the sake of the game, it did help, but we still noticed players were not interested in it that much. Using the old engine was a bit hard to do at first. We used the basis of Dungeon Keepers. Using an old basis seems flawless and the best use case. That's in programmers' dreams, not in reality. The story is a sci-fi tale about a war between a robot and humanity. There is a whole plot about how robots trying to integrate in a future society. There are also links between dangerous science and who should own it. Alas, the writing is a bit disconnected from the gameplay. We could feel that the sci-fi part was not interesting for players. Dungeon Rushes was very fun, and put easy adventures in crazy dungeons. Robothorium was serious business, and the writing was different from Dungeon Rushes. Some players did not really recognize themselves in it. Our marketing was very focused on robots. Sci-fi story until we realized that the very best thing of Robothorium is its gameplay. The gameplay is generous, with skill trees, crafting, looting and such. The progression curve is nice. We decided to shift the marketing more onto the gameplay, and less on the story. We arrived near the end of the early access, and we knew that the game was good, but the sales could not skyrocket. The team decided to give its best, though, because everyone loved the game. All the team pushed towards the release, and it went pretty well. We organized a stream run with around 30 streamers, added a cover art and released. We had a cooldown with the Crow mascot, which generated significant sales. Today, we are preparing the 1.1 patch for Switch PC. But we are unsure about how we will push after that. We want to work on our new projects, like Legend of Keepers. We also have to keep working on Sigma Theory Seeds of Resilience. I love states. You love states. Let's make a stats party. As of today, 18 divided by 02 divided by 2019. We are French, but have quite a low amount of French users. We do not know why. For we hired Pangolin, https://twitter.com/pangolin on launch to help us spit. China is still quite low, cause we had some issues with our publisher there. 125 around the launch SP, 5 to 10 daily, 220 around launch, still going. Thanks for reading. Let me know in the comments if you have questions. Over 5 million copies of Kingdom Hearts 3 have been shipped worldwide since launching last week on January 29th, making it the fastest selling game in the franchise. A tweet posted earlier today The official Kingdom Hearts Twitter page announced the news, which extended an appropriate 5 million thank yous to its players. It's worth mentioning that copies shipped does not translate into units sold, but the milestone is pretty unsurprising, given how long Kingdom Hearts 3 was in development for. The number includes both physical and digital copies across all platforms. Over 5 million copies of Kingdom Hearts 3 have been shipped worldwide. We do like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who's joined the journey so far, and we hope you are loving every minute of it. Pic. Twitter. com0dgq2019 for each. Gamasutra editor Alex Worrell continues our annual series of year-end roundups by looking back at some of the big events that shook up the game industry in 2018. A lot of long-simmering game industry issues boiled over in 2018, as we noted yesterday, while looking back at the trends that defined the game's business this year. Many long-time studios executed big layoffs, shut down entirely. Unionization in the game industry is a hot topic again, and in 2018 game workers unite coalesced and seemed to focus years of chatter into meaningful statements and action. After years of giving chase, French-made giant Vivendi finally gave up on trying to acquire Ubisoft and sold off its entire stake in the company to, among others, Ubisoft, Tencent, and the Ontario Teachers' Pension Plan. Iconoclasts finally came out. 2018 was a long one. Before we put it behind us, let's think about which bits we will still be talking about in the year ahead. Telltale Games was not the only studio to fall this year, but it was among the biggest and the most beloved, despite clear signs of trouble, including reports of a toxic work environment, a big round of layoffs last year, and a legal fight with Avsted, Kyoka in Brunner. It was still a shock when Telltale initiated its majority studio closure in September, effectively laying off over 200 people with no warning and no severance. They were not alone, either. Telltale's sudden shuttering happened within days of Capcom Vancouver closing and Big Fish laying off over 100 people, meaning the game industry lost 2 big studios and over 500 jobs in the course of a week. In retrospect, this seems a particularly bad year for mass layoffs in the game industry. While Skybound Entertainment works to finish up Telltale's final working, that game with at least some of the original developers, the once beloved studio's abrupt shutdown and failure to pay workers what they are owed, inspiring at least one class action lawsuit, drove many to ask, will TDLTALASFAILURA be a catalyst for industry reform? This year, Steam's polite dominance of the PC games industry appears shakier than ever, seen perhaps most clearly the week Valve announced it was formally creating new rev share tiers that give big sellers a break by cutting its take on big earners. The standard 30% take drops to 25% on all post-September earnings over $10 million and 20% over $50 million. Valve seems to be making a serious play to keep top game makers from taking their work elsewhere in the years ahead. This has never been more viable, now that multiple publishers, including Bethesda, Ubisoft and Electronic Arts, and it comes right as Epic and Discord, are opening up their own online game marketplaces with much better rev share rates. Most importantly, Valve is making this concession to big game makers, even as smaller devs continue to struggle with discoverability problems in a market overflowing with remarkable games. Low-profile or niche games can easily get lost in the mix, especially when Valve is tweaking Steam's recommendation algorithms in ways that drastically affect some devs' earnings. Once upon a time, just getting your game on Steam meant nearly guaranteed sales success. Now, most devs could be forgiven for seeking greener pastures in which to launch their next game. Loot box reward systems have been a thing in games for years. But after the Battlefront imbroglio of 2017, they caught the attention of media outlets outside of games. Fast forward to the end of 2018, and they are now firmly in the sights of gambling regulators around the world, with countries like Belgium and the Netherlands branding them a potentially illegal form of gambling. This has already caused devs like Valve, Square Enix,